Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December 17th meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Newcastle. May I have a motion to open our work session?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to start off by discussing an issue that's been of concern to everyone. We have had some, the unexplained drone activity over the Northeast, including New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and other states. And our residents have understandably expressed concerns and some fears about what these activities could mean. So we have two items to discuss. We have a letter that I'll be sending to our elected representatives, both at the federal, state, and county levels, and a resolution. And we will discuss that. Both the letter and the resolutions are acknowledging the significant increase in reported sightings of the unexplained drone activity and the growing concern and fear among residents. The drones have disrupted critical operations at local airports. They've disrupted activities at military bases and facilities, and have actually caused some harm for example, in one instance where a critically injured person was unable to be taken to a hospital by helicopter because of the drones. So there have been impacts to health and safety, and we know that the public wants more transparency and answers as to the source of the drones and their purposes. So we are supporting Governor Hochul's call for the federal government to deploy a drone detection system in New York State, and legislation to empower local law enforcement to identify and mitigate any drone threats, and additional federal law enforcement resources to be given to New York and the surrounding region if necessary to ensure the safety of citizens and critical infrastructure. We also support our US Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand in their call for a federal briefing from agencies including the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and the FAA in order to address identification, origins, and purpose of these drones. And we also support them in their call for the deployment and allocation of law enforcement and other resources to safeguard public safety, privacy, and infrastructure, and for the appropriate agencies to investigate and implement additional regulations required to protect citizens and privacy and our national security. So I have a letter that I'm going to ask the board to approve of, that I will send to our elected representatives, reiterating these points, and a resolution from the town board that we will vote on later. So does anyone want to say anything about that?
No.
No? Okay. Very good, so we'll get to all that in the resolutions. Let's see, we have a resolution extending a letter of agreement and general release regarding a staffing matter. And we will have an authorization to hire a town engineer and an authorization to approve the continuation of the scanning project. Jill, do you want to discuss any of those? Especially the scanning project?
Sure. So the scanning project was actually something that was discussed at our last meeting, but unfortunately we missed the resolution approving it. So
That's right, we did discuss it.
yeah, so our director of planning has been leading a terrific effort to continue to scan and digitalize all of the development department records. So she's done a fabulous job as of this point. I believe spent $60,000 earlier this year to we thought we were hoping would cover the remainder of the records. Unfortunately, we're 21 boxes short. It's another $24,000, which Rob was able to approve from the 2024 budget. And so we'd like the board's permission to be able to proceed with this and keep us on track to keep our records up to date and scanned. The ease of research and accessibility of the records cannot be understated. That's true. It's really been terrific, so we'd like to be able to support them.
Yes, okay.
And there's
Okay,
this,
then.
the authorization for the buses.
Oh, yes.
Okay, do you wanna let
Yes,
everyone know?
so since there has been overwhelming interest in our ski trips, we had an overflowing wait list, and so in order to accommodate everyone, or as many people as we can, we were seeking to secure 3 coach buses for each one of the ski trips, and that's proven a little bit more difficult than we anticipated. I believe Icusio, our superintendent of recreation and parks, has pulled a rabbit out of his hat, and I believe we are going to have coach buses to be able to take the kids skiing, because it's just too far to walk. So we're gonna be asking for authorization this evening for 2 separate bus companies to make sure that we can secure adequate transportation for the kids to get them there and back, and along with their gear. And the first ski trip is actually January 3rd, is my understanding.
No.
That's very soon.
10th, is the first one? Sorry, the 10th. And we only have an organizational meeting between then and now, so we wanted to make sure that we secured the bus transportation, so the trip would be a go.
Okay, very good. And I just wanna let anyone watching know that this is a very abbreviated meeting. We were actually supposed to have our last meeting of the year last week. But we came today primarily to hire a new town engineer, which you'll see us address in the resolutions. Bob Scioli is leaving after many years of service, and we've talked about this already, and we thank Bob for all of the work and his contributions to our town, and we're happy to report that we'll be able to hire someone who will be introduced to the public at the beginning of next year. So that's why this is a very short meeting, and I think we're ready for resolutions, right? Unless Jill or Rob, you have anything else to report to us? Okay, alright, so let's start with the resolutions.
This is a resolution calling for federal action to address unexplained drone activity and ensure public safety and security. I move to make the following resolution. Whereas there has been a significant increase in reported sightings of unexplained and unidentified drone activity across New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and other states, causing mounting concerns among residents and officials. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Newcastle, New York strongly urges the federal government to intervene and identify the sources, purposes, and origins of the unexplained drone activity, deploy drone detection systems to impacted states and regions, provide Congress with a full briefing on the scope and findings from relevant federal agencies, including the FBI, DHS, and FAA. Pass the Counter UAS Authority Security, Safety, and Reauthorization Act to empower local law enforcement with the tools to counter drone threats, direct additional federal law enforcement and military resources to safeguard public safety, privacy, infrastructure, and critical assets, and investigate and implement any additional regulations required to protect citizens' privacy and national security from unauthorized drone operations. Be it further resolved that this resolution calls upon all our elected officials to push for further transparency, information sharing, and swift action to address public concerns regarding drone activity. And be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to the President of the United States, members of Congress, federal agencies, and appropriate state and local officials for immediate action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I will just say the resolution is much longer, and we did not want to impose upon Jen and her vocal cords and the public, so I will print this, I will attach this to the town newsletter, and we'll put it on our website.
I move to authorize the town supervisor to send a letter to the elected representatives regarding unexplained drone activity.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and the letter pretty much mirrors the resolution.
I move to extend the letter agreement and general release regarding police officer number 166 for another 21 days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the hiring of Jeffrey Gasper for the position of town engineer within the development department at the annual salary not to exceed $160,000 and subject to the terms and conditions discussed by the board and subject to approval of council as to form and substance, effective January 21st, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to authorize the approval of the continuation of the scanning project from Survey Systems LLC, New York State Industry for the Disabled, for scanning the remainder of the 21 boxes of development department records in an electronic searchable format for the total estimated cost of $24,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to accept the authorization to approve coach bus services from either Academy Express or DPV Coach Bus Services for the rec department ski trips not to exceed $40,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.